Hello, weary traveller. Fancy seeing you here. Why don't you join me by the fireside for some comfort and cheer? Come now, dear one. Take some tea. Settle in. For today's story, we are about to begin. The storm's missing gift. There was something quietly sacred about mornings in Brightfield. A pale gold mist would drift lazily between the trees. Dew would sparkle along every blade of grass like scattered gemstones, and the low chorus of waking birds echoed gently through the valley. Most mornings, by the time the village began to stir, a small woven basket of baked delights already rested on a weathered tree stump near the glade of Lysana, the dryad. Sweet scones infused with elderflower, honey cakes wrapped in broad green leaves, sometimes even delicate pastries laced with wild rose hips. It was a simple, heartfelt offering from Namaria, and it had never once been missed. Until today. Lysana stood at the edge of her grove, the usual serenity of her face pinched with unease. The tree stump stood empty. The breeze that rustled through the branches carried the sharp scent of coming rain, and something else beneath it, a wrongness, subtle but growing. She reached a hand to the bark of a nearby birch, closing her eyes. In the hushed communion only dryads knew, she listened. The whisper of roots, the murmur of leaves, the uneasy rustling of the canopy. Something had shifted. Namaria had awoken early, as always. The fire in her bakery hearth had barely caught when she'd bundled a few morning treats into her basket, golden oat biscuits and a still warm honey loaf. Binky, her ever-present bunny companion, had twitched her nose and given an eager hop towards the door. They set out as usual, through the garden, the first hints of wind teasing at Namaria's long blonde hair. She pulled her shawl tighter and hummed softly, her free hand giving Binky an affectionate scritch behind one golden-furred ear. The forest path was one they knew well. It curved past the patch of sunflowers planted near the Rested Paws stables, crossed a mossy stone bridge over a gentle creek, and twisted between towering beech trees towards Lysana's glade. But partway along, the wind suddenly picked up, keening through the branches like a warning. Nam paused, glancing upward. Dark clouds, unnaturally dark, were boiling on the horizon. "I don't like the look of that," she murmured. Binky gave a faint chitter, ears low, golden eyes narrowed. But Namaria's kind heart pressed on. "Just a quick drop-off, then straight back, But they never made it to the glade. The wind howled louder. The path turned strange, twisting, unfamiliar. Rain lashed suddenly from the sky, driven sideways by gusts that tore branches loose and sent the forest into chaos. In the confusion and rising panic, Nam lost her footing on the slick leaves and tumbled into a shallow ditch, twisting her ankle. Binky pressed close to her, warm and protective despite her small size, golden eyes glowing faintly in the gloom. They were off the path now, off any path at all. The forest closed in, strange and unfamiliar, and the storm above only deepened. Back in Brightfield, shutters were being drawn and hearths stoked as the storm rolled over the town with unnatural fury. Sol the blacksmith stood just outside his smithy, thick arms crossed, mane of hair damp with rain. His golden eyes narrowed as he scanned the heavens. Storms were not unknown to Brightfield, but this one felt wrong. The air had an odd charge to it, something unspoken clinging to the edge of thought. Sol tightened the leather ties at his wrists and began to move through the village, securing doors, hammering down loose boards, and helping those in need with quiet strength and steadiness. As he reached the edge of the woods to pull in a wagon from the path, he saw a flicker of movement among the trees, graceful, green-toned, part of the forest itself. "Lizana," he rumbled in surprise. The dryad stepped from the shadows of the trees, her expression grave. "Namaria did not make her delivery this morning." Sol blinked, momentarily thrown. "She's never missed a day." Lizana nodded, her voice low and musical, but laced with concern. "I've spoken with the roots and leaves. They say the path twisted, that something, someone, pulled the storm here. She's lost, Sol, and Binky with her." Sol let out a slow breath, his features tightening. "Then we find them." He stepped back into his forge briefly, emerging with a weather-worn cloak and a lantern charmed with a steady flame. His eyes met Lizana's. "I'll follow your lead." And so they slipped into the forest together, one of leaf and one of fire, bound not by blood, but by purpose. Thunder rolled overhead. The rain still fell, but under the dense canopy of the greenwood they pressed forward, listening for signs, searching for warmth amid the cold. Each step brought them closer to something, but what that something was, they did not yet know. The greenwood was not like other forests in Thaloria. It breathed with an ancient rhythm, deep and knowing. Trees older than memory leaned in with silent whispers, and the moss beneath Sol's boots cushioned every step like a shroud. But today, even the greenwood felt uneasy. Rain filtered through the canopy in silver threads. The sky above remained a swirling slate of storm clouds, and every gust of wind seemed to carry distant, eerie laughter, like mischief or malice, just hiding out of reach. Lizana moved like a shadow through the trees, her bare feet never stirring a twig her ears tuned to the woodland's quiet distress. Sol, by contrast, was a figure of earthbound strength, broad and resolute, his charmed lantern casting a steady glow that kept the deeper shadows at bay. "Here," Lizana said softly, crouching near the edge of a twisted thicket. The dry earth was gouged by clumsy claw marks, small but sharp. Kobolds, perhaps, though these looked scattered, confused. The trail led towards a crooked path where the underbrush had been flattened by something heavier. "Namaria's basket," Sol rumbled, spotting the edge of the woven handle just beneath a bush. He lifted it carefully. The honey loaf inside was damp and crumbled, but still warm at the center. She was here recently. Lizana knelt, brushing her fingertips against the soil. Her green eyes shimmered at the magic of the forest, and she listened again, listened to the faint memories held in root and stone. "She fell," the dryad murmured, "twisted her ankle. Pinky stayed close, but something in the storm bent the paths. The forest itself recoiled." Sol glanced around, his brow furrowed. "Magic?" "Yes," Lizana whispered, "but not natural, not of the greenwood." A distant flash of golden light pulsed faintly through the trees, low, steady. Sol turned sharply. "Binky!" They moved quickly now, Sol sweeping aside brambles with his strong arms, Lizana whispering to the trees as they passed. The golden glow flickered again, brighter this time, as if calling them onward. Namaria huddled beneath a leaning cedar, her cloak wrapped tightly around her. She had created a modest shelter using fallen branches, but the cold had settled deep into her bones. Her ankle throbbed dully. Beside her, Binky sat alert and still, fur damp, golden eyes glowing like twin suns in the gloom. She had not left Nam's side since the storm struck. "I think we're really lost," Namaria murmured gently, her voice more to soothe Binky than herself. The bunny gave a single firm twitch of her nose and then hopped out into the open, her small frame still, ears pointing high, waiting. Nam blinked. "Binky?" A warm breeze brushed her cheek, impossibly gentle amid the howling wind. Then, through the shifting trees, came a voice. "Nam!" It was Sol. Namaria gasped and pushed herself upright. Here, we're here." Lizana emerged first, light-footed and luminous, her presence calming the wild storm around them. Sol followed a moment later, and for the first time that day, a true smile broke across his weather-worn face. Without hesitation, Sol lifted Namaria into his arms with a gentleness that defied his size. "You had us worried," he said gruffly, but his voice held warmth. "I didn't mean to cause a fuss," Namaria whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "The storm, it It was like the woods didn't want me to find a path.
They didn't,
Lizana said, eyes narrowing.
but not by their own will. Something twisted them.
They began their return, Binky leading the way. As they walked, the storm slowly began to lose its fury. The wind softened. The thunder moved on, growling like a predator leaving its prey behind. Back in Brightfield, the streets were damp, but safe. Keo had lit lanterns outside the rested pool. Martin and Antimus had rigged a curious spinning wind dial atop the bakery roof to study the storm's odd current. And Han, sensing something had been afoot, was in the kitchen preparing a warming stew, his tomato-stained hands moving with more purpose than usual. As Sol carried Namaria back through the gates, several villagers came to greet them. Relief washed through the crowd. Namaria, cheeks flushed, managed a small laugh. I've never had such an adventurous delivery route. The laughter that followed was warm and full, but beneath it lingered a quiet unease. The storm had not been ordinary. The forest had twisted. Something or someone was stirring in Thaloria. And Binky's golden eyes, watching the darkening tree line, blinked slowly, as if she knew more than she could say.